Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Before we get into this video, if you could just hit that big button down below, that would massively help me out. And as well, before we get into it, make sure you go and check out those links in the description down below. My Etsy page, the Leeds United Champions Again Ole Ole prints are on sale right now, so get yours today. Anyway, so we're in the international break, a very, very early international break, by the way, and I can't stand international breaks. Just let me carry on watching Leeds. Let us carry on playing in the Premier League, especially when it's pointless games. Anyway, we're at a point where we can kind of look back on the transfer window now that it's closed and have a little bit better of a well-rounded view on things. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video about kind of us and the other relegation kind of prospects and their transfer windows. But now we've kind of got the full picture. Sunderland ended really, really well, but we're just going to talk about Leeds. And we're going to go through the transfers that we made, and that's going to kind of give us an idea overall, if I rank them out of 10, how good our transfer window was overall. Because I think, honestly, before going into this, I would say that it's kind of a 6 out of 10 transfer window. But who knows? So we might get lower than that when we actually take the average of all the scores. Also, we're kind of looking at like price, how good they are, their not necessarily their potential for sell on and things like that. We're kind of talking about how well they'll do for us this season, how much money we spent on them, and that'll factor in points lower or higher based on whether we got a good deal or not. So we'll just do it alphabetically, especially on the incomings, because that's just the way that Transfermarkt lists it. So when we look at the first one, then let's look at Anton Stach. Anton Stach was one of the early transfers to come in, and as a midfielder, he's got a market value of 14 million euros, and we paid 20 million euros for him, which was around 17, 18 million pounds. And from what we've seen so far of him, I think he was really, really good for Leeds United. As a sign-in, he fits the profile. He's somebody who I thought was going to play a lot deeper, but will actually seem to be somebody who Daniel Farke wants to use more of a box-to-box 8 who can also destroy things as well in the build-up for other teams. So for me, I think Anton Stach is an 8 out of 10. I think he's a really good... Do you know what, actually? We're taken into the context of the type of player that we can actually get. So I'm going to say a 9 out of 10 for Anton Stach. Noah Okafor then is the next one of the later ones to come in. 25 years old, 13 million euro market value, 19 million euro fee from AC Milan. He's had a few seasons where he's not massively performed, but then he's been at different teams and he's been in different positions and never really had a go in one position for an extended period of time. He's a little bit of an unknown. Like I keep mentioning, he's in the top 1% of successful take-ons in Europe. So obviously he's going to be exciting to watch. But having not seen enough of him yet, based on who we know what he's capable of. I'm going to say, I think, a 7 out of 10 for Noah Okafor. I think we potentially could have got better, but we didn't, and he's kind of what we've got, and I think 7 is fair for him. Yakubiyol then. Yakubiyol, 26 years old, 18 million euro market value and 18 million euro fee, so I think we got a good fee from around 14, 15 million pounds from Udinese in the Serie A, and I do think that once he actually comes into the team, he will be really, really solid for Leeds. He's tall, he's strong aerially, he's not the best with the ball at his feet, but I think overall, I think you get an 8 out of 10 for Yakubiyol, having not seen a massive amount of him yet. The next one is Lucas Perry, 27-year-old goalkeeper, of course, 6'7" or 6'8", whatever he is. He's huge. 10 million euro market value, and we got him for 16 million euros, coming from Olympic Lyon as well, somebody who had played European football and had done really well for them in the league as well. Just because of financial irregularities for Lyon, Leeds were able to get him out for a very cheap price. So far, look, I think in the Everton game, didn't really have much to do, but was totally fine. In the Arsenal game, conceded a lot of goals, and then in the Newcastle game was really good again. Granted, he's not particularly great at passing it out from the back, but that's not why we've bought him. We've bought him for solidity and goalkeeping ability. And so I think it's actually kind of fair that it's difficult, really. As an estimation of his talent over 3 games is not going to be that accurate. But I think from what we've seen of him, he just seems like he's going to be a solid goalkeeper. So I think for me, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 as well. It's a good signing, but it's not amazing. Sean Longstaff next. Sean Longstaff is 27 years old, 20 million euro market value, and we got him for 13.8 million. So very, very good value for money on him, around 10 million pounds, 12 million pounds ish. But Sean Longstaff, I think before the Newcastle game, I would have said that it wasn't a great signing, but I think he showed us what he is capable of in that game. And I think if he can play like that for us, he'll be fantastic. Obviously, probably raised his game against his former club, against his teammates that he knows how to play against because he played with them in training every week. And so I think for now, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 because we don't know whether he just raised his game for that. And he's not necessarily a starter either. The rest of the ones that we've looked at so far are probably going to be starters. So it remains to be seen on how Sean Longstaff kind of comes into the team, especially with some of the injuries to Ampadu and Tanaka and stuff. He might get a bit more game time than you expect in these early stages of the season. Gabriel Goodmanson, again, a bit like Stack, 26 years old, good market value, and we got him for a good price, around £7 million in the end, £8 million ish. Played Champions League football. Is a really, really good signing for me. He's going to get a 9 out of 10. He's one of those where he's not necessarily the best in terms of overall as a footballer. If you signed him for a team who's going to play some kind of defensive football, he might not be that good. But he's a profile player that really, really fits what Farke wants to do. So for me, a 9 out of 10 is what it has to come down to. James Justin is the next one. James Justin, 27 years old, 13 million euro market value and a 9 million euro fee. So it was around 7 to 8 million pounds we paid for him. He's a backup, and you needed somebody of his quality to be better than Isaac Schmidt, essentially. So I think when you take that into account, it's probably a 6 out of 10 for me, because I think he does a job there. Similar with Sebastian Bornau, literally like a £5 million fee, 26 years old, very capable footballer, and he does a job as a backup. So I think I'll give him a 6 out of 10. From what I've seen, he was solid against Sheffield Wednesday. Granted, it was Sheffield Wednesday. Next is Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a bit of a contentious one, but my video from last Thursday talks about essentially how Dominic Calvert-Lewin can come good. Free transfer for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I think with the runs that he makes and the positions that he takes up, he will get goals for us this season. It's whether he can stay fit or not. So for free, I'm actually going to say it's like a 7 out of 10. If we'd have signed another striker as well, this kind of would have been perfect, but because we haven't, it's a little bit worrying in that sense. So we're going to give him a 7, not push him up to anything higher than that. Next one then is Lucas Mecha, again, kind of similar age to the rest of these players, 26 years old, and he was a free transfer as well. And so far from what we've seen of him, he's got very good hold-up play and provides a different option to some of the other players that we've had. So Mecha, I think, is going to be a 6 out of 10, fairly kind of average. So that's what happens when you look at all of the players that we brought in on permanent deals. And I don't think we're even going to take into account the players that we sent out on loan and stuff as well. Let's just count the incomings, because we only made 8 million euros in income for the whole season, for the whole transfer window. So it's not like it's a Sunderland where they sold Bellingham and other players like that and recouped quite a bit of money to spend in the transfer window. We're just looking at the incomings here. But what has to be said is currently we've got 71 as the total. Obviously, when we divide that by 10, we'll have a kind of 7.1 out of 10 transfer window. But you have to take into account the players that we didn't sign, if you will. And so I think you have to say the fact that we didn't sign another attacking creative player like a Hamer, like a Brownhill, like anyone who could have played in that number 8 role / on the wing as well, being creative, Bilal El-Khannouss, who ended up going to Stuttgart, anything like that. I think the fact that we didn't recruit there would constitute to me as maybe a 2 out of 10. The fact that we didn't sign Demirovic or another striker as well is another 2 out of 10. So what we're actually going to do is divide 75 by 12, because essentially that's your 2 players that you missed. Those two 2 out of 10s. And that gives us a better idea, because that gives us a 6.25 out of 10 for the transfer window. And at the start, I said that this transfer window to me had been a 6 out of 10. And I think that's probably fair enough on what we've seen. You have also got some players coming back in, like Jack Harrison, who'd been on loan and stuff, who definitely adds something to the squad. But when you look at the window as an overall, 6 out of 10 is probably about right. Can we fix that in January? Can we go out and get a Harry Wilson, which would be as a potentially a 5 or a 6 out of 10 transfer, and then maybe go and get a striker on loan? I don't know. But as for now, 6 out of 10 transfer window, which is a bit disappointing, because with a few signings, we could have easily had a 7 or an 8 out of 10 window and really, really been well prepped for the Premier League. That's my thoughts on the transfer window. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for watching Leeds lately. And I'll see you in the next one, which should be a tactical preview on Thursday of the Fulham game. Thanks for watching Leeds lately, and I shall see you in the next one.